Hello and welcome to Husky Talk, conversations with Cully and Conlon. Yes, it's been a few weeks, but we are back. I would like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. Procyon Partners, they specialize in wealth management, employee benefits, and retirement planning. One of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. President Sean Rabinowitz, he is going to get me a Tesla and is a great friend and proud supporter of Husky Talk. We have Dynamic Human Performance, run by Andre Dixon, legendary UConn running back. He works with boys and girls of all ages, all sports. He trains them. If you want your kid to reach their potential, work with Andre. He has a 5,000 square foot state of the art facility. He's sent kids to on scholarship for all different sports, and he will make sure that you reach your potential. We also have Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm. If you suffered any type of personal injury, if you have suffered a slip and fall, if a construction beam fell on you at a site, if your mother-in-law tried to run you over with a car, the Finch firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all over the state of Connecticut, and he will go to war for you to make sure you get every dollar you deserve in compensation. And now for my lovely co-host, Maria Conlon. Maria,
Steve,
great to see you.
how are you?
I'm great.
I
And
want Sean to get me a Tesla too. What's up with that? Is he giving them out, or is he taking extra money so you have enough?
no, I got. We're gonna when I invest my money, when he gets my investments up high enough, then I'm gonna get a Tesla. I don't know that I'll fit in one, but
You can get one of those like SUV ones.
they have SUV Teslas.
Yeah, they have
Oh,
SUV Teslas. Yeah.
okay.
I'm pretty sure. I feel like I've seen one.
I wanted to ask you.
Don't they look like armor or something like that?
I don't know. I'm not a Tesla guy.
I'm not either. I don't have. I barely have time to put gas in my car. I certainly won't remember to charge it.
Do you know John McEntee?
Why did that sound so familiar?
He was a UConn quarterback, sort of, and he's a TikTok star now and political pundit.
Oh, you know what? I saw that you posted he was going to be on your Rebel Republic. I don't remember him.
Yeah,
Was he older than me or younger than me?
he's younger than us.
Yeah, that's probably why.
He's younger than us. It's just it's funny how it worked out because I had wanted to have him on, and for a while, and he kind of blew me off, and then out of the blue he wanted to come on, so
Nice.
I was just shocked, and then I also found out once I posted that he was coming on, he isn't the most favorite person for a lot of people either. So this is going to be interesting.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know him, and I don't play favorites anyways. So
No, I
I
know,
have
I know.
I have nothing to hold. I have nothing to hold against anybody. I'm good.
I just thought it was funny because
Yeah.
he was a pretty big name. He had worked on Trump's campaign, or he was a low level staffer with Trump, and he ended up leaving. And once I posted it, people were not very happy. But I watched some of his TikTok videos. I just get a kick out of him because he's always eating, and
Yeah.
he just says the most outrageous things. So
Yeah.
it's going to be kind of.
I don't do TikTok either. So I wouldn't.
I don't either.
I don't know who has time for that. Crazy.
I don't either. I don't either. But it was funny watching his TikTok videos because he's always eating, and
Right.
he always has an opinion or a comment, and it's not necessarily a favorite. So It's gonna be fun to see how this goes tonight. Because I you know that I typically don't prepare anything, and
Mhm.
I got an itinerary of what he wants to talk about. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know how that's going to go, but
Yeah.
it's either going to be really good or
So
really
so
gut wrenching.
is he a conservative, a liberal, a moderate? What is
He's
he?
very he's hardcore conservative.
Gotcha. Okay. Why did he
Yeah, he's
leave
hard.
Trump?
He's
Why did he leave Trump's
well,
administration?
that's debatable. Uh, the when I post, I just happened to post it on TikTok, and because that's his main platform, and there was kind of like an uproar about it, and somebody said that he got fired for gambling. Another person said that he was texting girls. So I don't, I don't know what to believe.
Everybody texts
Um,
girls, right? I mean, it's
yeah,
not.
everyone texts girls. Everyone texts. Dave and I were just talking about Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick has a 25-year-old girlfriend, and we were just talking about. I don't know how that girl's father like lives with himself. Like I don't know how I would handle that if my daughter walked in with a 72-year-old man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I mean,
mean,
I don't know.
you can't. How do you justify that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't pass judgment on anyone, so to each his own.
I don't either, but I mean, that's like a grandfather.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. No, I
That
get it.
we were talking about that. It's like, how did they pull that off?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, because he just announced this staff at North Carolina, so we were looking at some of the names, and there was a video of him that went viral. He went to a North Carolina basketball game and fell asleep, and he got caught
he
on
must.
camera
He
asleep.
missed his afternoon nap. I mean, listen.
He did. He
Tough.
missed his
Tough
afternoon
being
nap.
an adult. I mean, I've always been like against. Like I've never been a good napper my whole life. But
Right.
what I will say is I've read a lot of books recently and a lot of articles on the benefits of like a power nap once a day.
Yep.
So
100%.
I try on the weekends. I like to get like a good 45-minute one in because if it's anything over like an hour, I feel like you just wake up worse.
Yeah.
Like I feel more tired when I wake up, and it's a game changer. I don't have time for that during the week, but I do try to do my best, especially on Sundays, get like a midday 45-minute in.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm the opposite. Like if I'm napping, I need 2 to 3 hours. I can't do an hour.
Uh,
I want 3 hours. But
that's like
the
last night I got like 5.5 hours total of sleep. So like
oh, okay.
two and a half 3 hours would be like
That's half your sleep.
yeah. That's I mean, if you got it and you can do it, go for it. I think my brain is too active and I have too much stuff
No,
going on
no.
to relax.
You have 48 jobs, and you're
Yeah.
not used. You're like a shark. If you stop moving, you'll die.
Well, and like, I mean, listen, I have the only thing that I have next to my bed at night, right? I have my phone plugged in, it's on the ground.
Oh,
I
yeah, that's
have I
smart.
have a bottle I have a bottle of water because I'll wake up in the middle of the night thirsty. And then the
Yeah.
third thing that I have is my huge bottle of melatonin gummies
Oh,
because
those are great.
yeah, like if I don't you know grab a couple of those, like I'll never fall asleep. So
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have the racing thoughts? You can't shut your head off?
yeah, for whatever reason, and again, like just reading about sleep and like personalities, there are peak times for everybody's like personality type and like whatever of when you should like what's your window, which is like your best time to fall asleep. And
Right.
mine is like 9 to 10:30, but
Oh,
that's like impossible for me.
yeah,
So
because you practice late.
yeah, and by the time I get home and I play with the kids and then I do my like last second emails or whatever, It's past 10:30, so like my window's already passed. The nights where I can get like horizontal around like 8:30 and like really zen out are always when I sleep my best and I fall asleep fast. Outside of that, it's like a battle to fall asleep every night.
No, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. And then you just get frustrated. I just get pissed if I
Yeah,
can't fall asleep.
like I don't know why my brain thinks it's cool at like 3:30 in the morning to remind me of like three things that I have to do the next day, and then it like weighs on my
Oh,
head.
yeah.
It's the worst. Like you wake up to go to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden you're like, ah man, I forgot to do this today. Definitely got to do it tomorrow. And then your thoughts start to race of like, oh man, I can't believe I forgot to do this, etc. It's crazy, but that's adulthood, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately we're adults. I keep forgetting that. Um
Yeah,
I was looking at your roster. Are you losing four girls?
three,
Okay, so you're losing three. Are you gonna
three.
bring in three?
I
Okay.
would like to bring in like seven, but um, yeah, yeah,
So
we're
you got
losing
to be
three.
really selective.
Yeah, it's tough because we're behind on the recruiting, right? Because when we got the job, the season was just about starting, so we had to kind of
Correct.
full throttle into that. Um, and a lot of kids like to decide where they're going to go to college by like November, December, right, of their senior
Yeah, they
year.
do early
So
action. Yep.
yeah, so we're like a little bit behind, but we've got some good kids in the pipeline. We're in a lot of really good conversations with people. We have kids accepted into the school already, so now
Oh,
it's just
that's
a
great.
matter of yeah, them making this decision to come here. There's still some kids you can get late at this time of
Yeah.
year that haven't committed that are kind of holding out, which is why like this next month for 2025 is really imperative. But we're out there recruiting 2026 and beyond as well.
Right.
Um, so just kind of doing what we can with the time that we have. Um, but we got a good chunk of kids coming back, so that's good. Um, we're only losing one starter, so
Right.
that's a good sign. We're only losing like 9 points a game.
No, I
Um,
was looking at it. Yeah. Your best players,
so
I mean, are the freshmen
yeah, so
that that
we
need
had
a
four seniors. We had four seniors this year.
yeah.
Three of them are graduating. One redshirted, so she'll be a redshirt senior next year. And then we had one junior, and then we had nine freshmen
That's
to
all
finish off.
freshmen. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a good core. I mean, assuming everybody comes back, stuff happens, but I have no reason to believe right now that any of them are going anywhere. But you always got to have that in the back of your head, and the thing is, like, you gotta recruit higher than what you have and hope that they work out,
Absolutely.
and hope the kids that you have raise the bar and get better. So that's kind
Develop.
of where we're at right now. Yep.
Yeah, Dave and
Yep.
I were talking about that because there's so many less scholarships for freshmen now that a lot of kids hold out and
Yep.
they don't end up with anything because everyone's going
Yeah.
to the transfer portal
Yeah. I think
and
I think kids
they
too,
missed.
like they chase stuff. Like they chase.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna try to get a
Oh yeah.
Division two, or oh, I'm gonna try to get a Division one, and then they kind of like take a step back, and when they don't have those opportunities, that's where for us we can come in and give them an opportunity to play in college and get a degree and all of that. So, um, which is why it pushes it out a little bit.
Are you guys doing? I didn't know. Do you do like official visits? Do you do overnights?
Yep. Yeah, we do
Okay.
overnight. Yep.
So is that starting soon?
Yeah, I mean, typically in the future, we'll like
You
to
do
have
them
all
during
of
the
those.
season.
We would do them in the fall, like,
Oh,
November,
okay.
October, November, to get it out of the way. But obviously, because of when we got hired, that wasn't possible. So we've had a bunch of overnights already. We have a couple
Oh,
more
good.
coming up. Yeah. So yeah, we're doing what we can. Doing what we
Would
can.
you, because when I coached at Holy Cross, the one thing we always tried to do, if we had a kid that committed in the fall, we would get them to apply early decision or early action to try to lock it in. Is that something you would do?
Yeah. I mean, we would love to like go to Christmas break with 3 or 4
Yeah.
commitments every year. And I think that I feel like the kids want to also like
Yeah.
you don't. I feel like as a senior in high school, you want to kind of know where you're going and have that you know off your plate so you can just enjoy your senior year. Um, so definitely in the future, that's what we'll push for.
So I got an email from the Wharton School at UPenn.
Yep.
Um, they were doing a podcast study, and they recognized our podcast is being one of the most watched that they've studied. So I had to do like a little questionnaire and give some feedback on our guests and format and all that stuff. But your podcast was one of the top ones.
Nice. That's always good.
You can add that to your list. Yeah,
Yeah. How about that? I thought you were gonna
yeah,
say they were trying to get you to come teach at UPenn.
right. That'd go over well. That'd go over. I don't know what I teach.
Podcasting.
That'd be. I don't think they'd let me on the campus at Penn, let alone teach.
Oh
But
man,
yeah,
that's funny.
they.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was like a virus. I thought it was like fake. Um,
Yeah.
and I
There's a lot
called
of that going
Dave,
around. Yeah.
and it said Wharton, UPenn. It was a legit address, and like they had a group that legitimately studied our podcasts. Um, they studied ours, the one we do with Joe, and then the one I do with Dave, and the one I do the one the regular Husky talk, and they found that it's one of the most viewed, most listened to independent podcast networks that they've studied. And I guess they've studied a bunch. And there's actually not a lot that have women co-hosts, women hosts or whatnot. So that's why like yours was one of the top. I think it was in the top 5 of. I mean, they looked at hundreds, and yours was in the top 5 for women.
Very cool. We could thank Husky Nation for that, I guess, right?
I don't know if they're gonna send me a trophy to give to you, but yeah, you were up there big time. I yeah, it's really impressive. I mean, I think that we could probably send you to NASA, and you would be a good astronaut.
I don't know. I don't like enclosed spaces. So
Ah,
and I
that's
don't think
true.
and I don't like heights. I mean, I would hang out and probably give some decent input on like stuff I observed, but I I, I think like one part about me that makes me a little bit of a chameleon is that I'm like, I'm chill, but I'm also just an open book. You know,
Well, yes, you're very open. Yes.
I try not to I tell a couple of my friends who like are constantly asking me like, how do you stay so level? And I'm like, I try not to ever get too high, and I try
You're
not to
not
ever get
you're
too
not
low.
opinionated though either.
No, I mean, like, listen, I form my own opinions of things, right? But I do that after, analysis and concentrated
Yes.
research, and I usually make any opinion that I have align with my moral fiber and values. And I think when you do that and you come from a genuine place of um, caring about the content that you speak on, I think that's important.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that, especially I remember when I looked at the work harder workshop that you developed. That was really impressive, and
Yeah,
you put a
it's
lot of thought
growing
into
too.
it.
I'm actually headed to a meeting in West Hartford
Oh,
right now about that.
oh, great.
Just really trying to branch it out. I think I'm seeing more and more now that I'm out like recruiting. Like there's so many kids. Like now I'm running into with kids like, oh, I don't even want to go to college. I just want to go get a job. And I'm like, what? Like, and listen, in certain circumstances, right, a college degree is not necessary. I'm definitely a believer in that. This is a
Correct.
very interesting car. Oh, I'm driving by a VIP car, and
Oh,
it's got a naked Cupid on the top of it, and it's a Volkswagen Bug. That is one for the taking there. But anyways, I think like if someone got in front of them when they were young enough to really start thinking about like what aligns with them and finding that alignment in joy and something that they're going to do forever, you wouldn't find as many kids that are like just confused about what they want to do or lost or feeling like they can't do what they're passionate about.
no, they can't. They can't. And I think a lot of it's the parents too. They get pushed into
Yeah,
things sometimes by their parents that they may not
yeah, but
align
you know
with.
what? You know what's funny is like I find what I'm finding now and some of the research that I'm doing is yes, that is the case in certain demographics. But I think
Oh, okay.
if you look even further into like low poverty communities and schools of kids that grow up there, I think you have two totally different spectrums, right? Like you have some kids that are just, I got to get out of here. I want to better my life. I want a
Yep.
different, a different outcome. And then you have some kids that are like, nah, I don't think I ever can do that because I'm so used to living at this level. So
Right.
I feel like there's two sides to it. There's the kids that maybe get pushed into something by their parents, and then there's kids that maybe don't. Their parents are working three jobs. They're not
Yeah.
seeing them, and they're not getting any guidance
They have no
either way.
direction. Right.
Yeah. So it's sad. So I'm just trying to make an impact on as many kids as possible from that perspective, and just go from there.
I just wanted to ask you quickly, your goal for that, for the work harder, would it be something that you would want in schools? Is it something college level? Like, where do you see it going?
Yeah, I kind of test piloted it in a couple of different areas. So I think that like sixth grade or younger is too early, right?
Right.
They're they're just trying to
They're
get
kids.
they're just getting a cell phone and like trying to figure out what TikToks they want to follow, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think seventh and eighth grade with the right kids, in the right schools, it can be really impactful. I think high school, it's definitely needed, and I think like it
Yes.
would be a cool. I think it would be a cool elective course in college.
I
Because I
agree.
think like even if you want to be an engineer, let's just say, right? Because you love numbers and you love doing that, but you have a passion for like, who the heck knows, like, I don't know, uh, knitting blankets, right? Like, let's just use something random, but like, that's your outlet. Like, how do you fit that into what you're doing?
Yeah.
to make sure that you still have that outlet, or
Have-
just like if basketball is a passion of yours, but you don't necessarily want to coach at the next level. What are some things that you can do to still be around the sport, but
keep it
have a
right.
job that pays the bills? You know what I mean? I think that where a lot of people get into this like drudge of like, oh, the Sunday scaries and it's Monday. Like, I don't really ever feel like that.
Yeah.
I used to, right? But now I have so many different outlets that I'm passionate about that I can apply to my daily life. That like every day is just kind of like it's like
You look
a
forward
blank
to it.
slate that I can draw. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, all right, cool. Who can we impact today? Who can we help? Whether it's in my financial career, it's in my coaching career, building at the restaurant, or this work harder passion that I have in terms of really getting it out there. So,
I just wanted to ask you quickly, UConn, they have the tournament coming up. What do
yep.
you do you think it's a cakewalk? Do you think they just roll through it?
Yeah, I mean, if
Because
everything
they look
goes
good.
as the tournament will, I assume they'll see Creighton in the championship.
Yep.
Um, and unless Creighton shoots like 75% from three, and UConn plays horrible. I just don't think. I mean, it's at Mohegan, but it's still basically a home game for these guys.
Yeah.
It'll be all UConn people there. It'll be a fun weekend. Um, I'll be recruiting, so it won't be that fun of a weekend for me. But yeah, no, I don't really see anybody being able to, come close to them. They just moved up to third, so they could potentially be getting a one seed now. We had a
That's
couple
what I was
people
going to
lose.
ask you. Yeah. So you think they
Yeah,
could end up
I
number
think they
one?
could. I think they'll be right on the cusp. Like I said last
Yeah.
week on Husky Talk, I think when you look at rankings, right, like top 25, it has a little bit of a bearing on your seeding, but not really because there's so many different things that go into it, like your RPI,
Yeah.
um, you know, wins against top
The
25 teams,
conference.
etc. Yeah, the conference that you're in. So I could see them getting like you know, the fourth number one pick maybe, or the first
Yeah.
the first two seeds. I think it could go either way.
And do you think obviously they have enough talent, and if they get hot, they could win it all.
Yeah, I mean the cool part about UConn right now is that a lot of people are shortening their rosters. Right at this time of year, they're kind of tightening up.
Yes.
All right, there are 7 kids that we really. UConn keeps getting more players back
We're
and
playing
trying to
more.
find
Yes.
like. Yeah, now it's like, how do you find the minutes to fit all these kids in? That's another struggle, right? But I think right now they have a lot of answers for if somebody's having an off night or somebody's in foul trouble. It's not like early on in the season where we weren't as deep. I think that, as predicted, this is the time of year where, UConn starts to really, show their identity of who they want to be and how they want to play. So I think, I also think like the tournament is always partial luck too, right? Like
And 100%.
yeah, like more on the men's
100%.
side than on the women's. But with the women's parity that we have nowadays, it's becoming a little bit more relevant. I think, if you can luck out with seeding and brackets and kind of matchups, that definitely helps. I don't
Yes.
see why they're not a Final Four team this year. I think I totally think they are. Um, so there's that aspect to it. But I'm excited. I think they're playing really well.
They are.
I think everybody is contributing a little bit. Aubrey looks really good right now,
Yeah.
so that's exciting.
God bless her.
But yeah, So, we got any questions for me this week?
If you have time, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good. I
I'll
thought I
get
was
you a
gonna have to
couple.
get off at 11:40, but yeah, you're good. I got like 15 more minutes.
Well, a number of people had this is from a couple weeks ago too. How did you handle losing this year?
Oh, um,
Because they can't imagine, from the success that you've had as a player and then as a high school coach, and then you took the job late, so it's a completely different situation. But you're if you've never lost before, it's agonizing. So
Yep.
several people asked how you dealt with losing.
Yeah, I think, like, listen, it wasn't easy. I feel like, especially at first. Um, and just like anything, you could either, you know, mope and be in the sob story of it, or you can learn from the experience. So I just tried to learn, that there's always a positive you can take out of everything. I've learned that you have to try to focus on the process and the journey and not the destination, right? Because
Absolutely, yeah.
sometimes seasons are gonna be just that, right? Like, they're just gonna be about the journey, and kind of looking at us from day one to the last day, and the steps and strides that each individual player took, and overcoming a bunch of different things, injuries, youth, is only going to make us better. I think it was definitely a humbling experience, um, to go down that path that way. But, I definitely had some nights where I came home and just, had to have a bottle of wine.
That's how I was. Yep.
Yeah, just to kind of chill and like take the stress off. Not that I'm encouraging alcohol as a de-stressor, but sometimes you need to just sit down, have a glass of wine, and just like not think about it. I think it also, for me, because we weren't really playing for anything towards the end of the season, it
Right.
gave me time to like really just enjoy being around the kids without the pressures of having to win. I think
Right.
I'm hoping that I'll never have that feeling again, but it gives you a different perspective on how hard it is to win,
No,
how much
yeah.
preparation goes into it. So, it wasn't easy, I guess, is the short answer, but, I found ways to learn and just get through it.
A couple people had asked, what happened to the previous head coach?
Oh, she retired.
Oh, she retired. Well,
Yeah, she retired,
did she wait
like
till
the
the
first
last
week of
second to
August.
retire?
Yeah, she retired. She retired like the first week of August. So that's when they started their search. Because it's a state university and it's a state job, it takes a long time to get to that. So we got
Oh,
hired on, I think it was like
wow.
October. I think October 7th was, or 8th was like my official first day,
Jesus.
and then we started practice on like the 13th. So, yeah,
Did
and I'm still figuring things out. Like, because our season started right away and we didn't have a preseason,
Yeah, you had
there's just
nothing.
there's just so much that goes into the day to day.
Oh,
You
well,
know, that you
completely.
don't know about, like, filing time cards, and
Yeah, you're the CEO.
pulling grades and worrying about fundraising and like all this stuff. So now I'm kind of taking a step back and trying to get ahead of all of that for next year. Which are some things that I wasn't able to do, the prior season.
Did the previous coach actually run training camp before she retired?
Yeah. So, typically there's like a preseason.
That's
The
so
NCAA
weird.
now gives you a certain amount of days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, these kids weren't lifting, they weren't doing anything because they didn't have a coach. So,
Oh, okay.
preseason was kind of like a joke because, yeah, which, obviously we won't do that moving forward. We'll have a
The
pretty
coach
structured
wasn't
preseason.
there in the preseason, is what you're saying?
Well, yeah, so she retired in August. So the kids come back onto campus at the end of August.
Oh,
So from
wow.
the end of August until first day of practice, there was nothing.
They had nothing. Oh my
Yep.
God, that's crazy. Um,
Yeah, I mean, and add to that we had so many freshmen. I mean, we had kids that like had to adjust to the new 3-point line, had to adjust to the size of the court. So it was a lot of adjustments this year that hopefully we won't experience next year at all.
what is one thing that you would say you learned now that you did not know before the season as far as coaching at the college level?
Um, I think it's more just kind of navigating their schedules with what we're trying to do. Um, I
Yeah.
remember you remember going through it as a player, but when you're a player, like you just got to worry about you.
Yeah.
I think as a coach, and honestly, and one of the hardest things that I found this year, especially in the beginning, by the end of the year, it was good. Was like because we didn't know any of these kids and we didn't recruit any of these kids.
Yeah.
We didn't know them at all.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know their personalities. We didn't know what type of students they were. We didn't know what type of athletes they were. We didn't know how they were going to balance everything. We didn't know their parents, right? Like I remember the first couple of games, I'm going out after the game trying to like introduce myself to parents, like, hey, I'm the mom away from home right now. Where typically you build that relationship through recruiting, right? Um, so when you didn't recruit the kids, sometimes it's hard to build that trust and learn that really quickly while you're trying to, teach them all these other things on the court. So it's like it's, it's a little bit of, it was a little bit of a shit show because, there's
Yeah.
just a lot of different variables that you're juggling at once, without really knowing what these kids are like. Like imagine like you're in charge of 15 kids. You have no idea where they're from. You have no idea like who their parents are or what their background is or anything. And now you're in charge of them every single day. It was tough. So, now moving forward as we get out there and recruit and we get to know these kids early on and get to meet their parents and their high school coaches, etc., there'll be a much deeper connection to them. Um, by the end of the season, like we knew these kids inside and out. But it takes time, and that trust takes time. I think what I definitely learned this year is that um, the trust level that people put in you to send their kids away to school to play is something you got to take really seriously and be proud of, and kind of it's a whole nother level of care
No,
than
it
just
is.
like than just being like a high school coach, right? Where the kids go home to their parents every night. Um, we got kids. This one's sick, that one's sick. Okay, I got to make sure that they're okay. They're getting what they need because mom lives 3 hours away or 4 hours away or whatever. So it's definitely a different level of care that I don't know that I realized before. Because again, like when you're the athlete, like you just kind of figure it out and you get what you need. But when you're the person responsible for the athletes, it's a little different dynamic.
How did your daughter do this season
She
without
did great.
yeah,
You mean without me being around? Um,
without you, yeah, you know,
yeah,
not being as
it
involved?
definitely was. It was definitely tough. It was definitely an adjustment. The travel was a lot more. I was definitely home a lot later than normal. But she was great about it. You just got to try to find those pockets of time where they have your undivided attention and, they know that they're loved and that they're seen. And I think if you got a good enough support system at home, that helps, which I did.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, I think next year will be harder for me because she'll be in high school. Um,
God, will
so
she?
yeah, she's gonna be a freshman.
Jesus,
So there's
that's
definitely
scary.
going to be a bunch of conflicts with her game and my practices or games or whatever. Where I'm gonna not love missing that stuff. When it's grammar school, it's kind of like, all right, sometimes they play on the
Yeah.
weekends, once or twice during the week, you can kind of squeeze it in. But high school is a little bit different. So I feel like next year will definitely be harder. So it was, silver lining, it was probably good that this was my first year and she was still in eighth grade because I could kind of like get my feet wet and know what to expect without her being in high school yet. So, next year I'll be able to plan hopefully a little bit better and appropriately.
This is from Madeline. from Shelton, and it's in all caps. Maria, I love you. You were one of my favorites. Will you hit the ground running to fundraise and start maybe an NIL?
We started fundraising already. We actually did a day of giving like 2 weeks ago. We raised close to $12,000, which was
Yeah,
awesome.
because people give
You
you
know,
money.
I had a lot of family and friends that were really generous, and I appreciate it. Because the hard part at our level is that we don't get all the bells and whistles that you see at the Division 1 level or even at the Division 2 level. We pay for a lot of it
Yes.
through fundraising, whether that's like shooting shirts or warm ups or whatever. Um, so we've already started doing some of that stuff. In terms of NIL, we're not there yet. We still got to kind of iron out what that looks like at the D3 level. I know our athletic director has started looking at some of that stuff. But it's a little bit of a slippery slope, right? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of different ramifications around it now, and it's not like these kids at the D3 level are going to have agents. So
No.
we got to do a lot of that stuff on our own, just in terms of, getting the word out there about our program and what we're trying to build here, and hope that people believe in the vision that we see that is, we're at the ground floor, or we're in the basement still, brick by brick, building it up. So, but I'm confident we'll get there.
She also wanted to know, do you guys revenue share with other sports?
No.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so we
That's
get,
big. That's big.
yeah, I mean, you get your, I don't know how much revenue there is at this level, right?
But I mean,
You
what
get,
you fundraise, you don't have to share it.
no. If it's specific, like, okay, I'm donating to women's basketball, we don't have to share that.
That's yeah. And then you have right. Okay, so you have quite a few freshmen returning. Do you see yourself as being one of the top schools in the conference next year? Do you think you'll be an upper echelon school?
I don't know. I think it depends on,
Development and who you bring in.
development, off-season recruiting. I think what's nice for us is that, where we struggled this year was there was a lot of teams in our conference that had kids that were still there for their COVID year.
Oh
So,
Jesus, really?
like, yeah. So, like, our last game of the year, we played UMass Dartmouth, and their entire starting five were fifth-year seniors. And four out of our five starters were freshmen.
My
So,
God.
just out of the product of experience, it's going to be a tougher game. So we probably won't see as much of that next year. And I could tell, like, when we were playing teams and we were losing and they would put their, like, second team in, we held our own,
Yeah.
in a lot of different ways. One, during that first squad, you got a kid that, like UMass Dartmouth had two kids that played D1 who transferred in
Oh,
to finish their fifth year at a D3. Like,
that's ridiculous.
you're talking like the talent level is very, very, like, top heavy when you have that. Because it's just a different level of play. So I
Who
think
takes their
that,
graduate year down?
well, if you want to move home, right, and you want
Oh,
to get your
okay.
master's in something, and you just want to be close to home, I mean, I think a lot of kids did that from an opportunity standpoint. So obviously, next year we won't have as much of that stuff going on, which will be good. So it'll be a little bit more level playing field. So I'm excited to see what we can do when, our kids aren't freshmen. A lot of those seniors have graduated. So some of that seniority and experience is kind of gone. So we'll see. I mean, we're in a really tough conference. The LAC is
Yes.
one of the top conferences out there for D3. So, every year will be a dogfight, but, we're ready for it.
Rachel had wanted to know, and this is probably a dumb question.
There are no
Do
dumb
you
questions.
are you going to look overseas at all to recruit?
overseas is a little tough for us
Yeah.
because it's not full scholarship with room and board, right? Because if you're coming from
All
overseas,
right.
you're not a commuter. I'm definitely open to it. Um, I actually had a conversation with a kid from Iceland this week who was just looking to come play in the States and get a student visa and all of that stuff. So I think if it's the right fit, we'll definitely explore that. I don't know how many people that are living in Europe are necessarily earmarking Danbury, Connecticut as a place they want to go, but again, I think once we start building it and we start winning, I think we can definitely be in that market a little bit more. Um, but for right now, I think our focus is really like the tri-state New England area. Um, I'm in
Yes.
talks with some kids that are a bit more out west, but
No,
I
you got
think
to
that's
take care of
probably
your
our
home
sweet
spot.
spot. Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
this was Brianna. She was curious to know if you leaned on or had conversations with Coach Oriemer or CD during your season for any
Um.
guidance or advice.
Uh. Some
Probably
text exchange
Morgan.
with coach here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talk to Morgan all the time. I'm definitely once their season's over, I'll definitely go up and pick his brain a little bit. And I think like the big thing that I want to pick is like, how did you recruit kids to try to believe in something that they couldn't see yet? Like how did you
Right.
do that early on? I think those are some questions that I have for him in terms of, how do you build that? Like how do you get kids to believe in something that they can't see? Um,
Buy-in. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm in contact with all those guys pretty frequently, and they're always great whenever I need advice or I have something that I want to pick their brains about. So, in the off season this year, I'll definitely be doing that a lot more. I mean, during the season it's tough. Everybody's busy with their own thing.
Yeah, of course.
So, yep.
Jessica wants to know if you ever got overwhelmed.
Got what?
If you ever got overwhelmed during the
Oh yeah,
season.
all the time. I mean, that's life, right? Like if you're not, I don't know, if you're not feeling overwhelmed, then you're not doing enough. I think,
Yeah,
yeah. I
crack
mean,
me up.
we had we had some weeks where it's like we had 3 road games. The road games
Oh,
are like 4 hours away. You're on
all
the
bus
bus
trips.
all
Yeah.
hours. I mean, it's a lot. Trying to figure out what the kids are going to eat. How are we going to get these kids ready? The hard part at D3 is like, we'll have games that are 3 hours away, and we travel the same day. So like these kids are on the bus
Yeah,
for
it's
three
awful.
and a half hours. Then
And
they
then
get
they got to go
out, and
play a
they
game.
got to be ready. Yeah, it's tough. So I think more from that perspective, I was overwhelmed. Um, but we'll figure out some of that stuff moving forward. I don't think I'll ever have a year of my life where I don't go a few days overwhelmed. Um, I probably
Well,
feel overwhelmed once a week at least. You
you
know,
hide it well. You hide it well.
I mean, I try. It's like I'm overwhelmed, and then like I'll say to myself, okay, I'm overwhelmed right now. I gotta take a second, because I'm also like very impatient. So I want to put the work in, but I also want the results to happen immediately. And once you realize that you can't control a lot of that, it's tough. But
Catherine wanted to know, do you get to pick your non-conference schedule?
yes, we do. Um,
Oh, okay.
Obviously, this past year the schedule was already made, and then this year we were kind of stuck with some scenarios where the prior coach had already made agreements of like a home and away series with a school. So we were stuck a little bit in that. We are going to Puerto Rico in December this year to play in a tournament out there. Yeah, so we're excited about that. It'll be great for the kids. It'll be great for recruiting. Um, so, but yeah, we get to pick it, within reason. The hard part is that's another thing too is like, you just assume schedules are done, but like we do our schedule. So that the conference
Yeah,
schedule is made for you, but you're out of
right.
conference schedule. you got to go out and build relationships with other coaches to play. um, and then you have budget stuff too. Like, it'd
Yeah.
be nice to say like, hey, let's go play this D3 team out in California. It's like, okay, well, let's think about what the
Yeah.
cost. That might not fit into the budget this year, So there's a lot of different factors.
All right. Last question. Erica wants to know, do you see yourself staying at the college level long term?
I think so. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's
Yeah.
it's challenging, but I love a good challenge. Uh, it's in my home state, so that's
Yeah.
great too. So
It,
yeah,
it's a it's a good gig because it allows you to be involved in your other projects. You're still close enough, to get home to see your kid, and
yep,
it really is a good situation, and it's a
yeah,
program that you can build, um, and really put your stamp on.
yeah. So my intention is to stay here for as long as it feels right. And
Yeah,
I'm always big on like when it starts not being fun,
yeah,
then it's time to go. But for right now, I'm good.
yeah. When it starts to feel like a job, now I hear you. Well, I'm glad that the season's over. I'm glad that you're out recruiting, and it's exciting to hear all the possibilities for work harder, because
Yeah,
that's something special, and I think that's something that kids need, and it will make a big difference in their lives. And the fact that you came up with it was so well written, and it made a lot of sense, especially for kids this day and age. I think
yeah.
it's great, and I hope it goes far, because
Thank
it's
you.
needed. It's needed for sure. But yeah, have a safe trip. You yeah, I mean, you got a lot of fans. I got to make sure. Is there a website or anything if they do want to donate?
Yeah, I can shoot that over to you. We can
All
get that
right,
out
make
for
sure,
sure.
because I mean, you got so much feedback that I got to put it out there, because I think you'll get some money from it. I just have to thank Julius Williams, Julius Trenches. He runs a trench mob in Decatur, Georgia, trains offensive and defensive linemen. He has some of the most talented kids I've ever seen. If you want your kid to be coached by the best, go to Julius. He sends his kids all over the country on scholarships. Ned Von Young has Fresh Fold Laundry Company in Carborough, North Carolina. They are state of the art. They wash, dry, and fold your laundry in land speed records. They have specials and deals for college students. They have online scheduling. They have a subscription model. Ned Von has just done a wonderful job, and we're happy to have him on board. And I also
What's the
have
name
to
of
mention
that?
Fresh Fold Laundry Company.
Is
It's
that because
in
we used to call them fresh in college? Is that why?
yes, yep, yes.
I
You
love
knew.
it. I
Yes.
love it. That's great. That's awesome.
And Razul Wallace, Razul has a fundraising dinner coming up for the House of Changes. It's March 22nd, 6:30 p.m. It's at the Swift Factory in Hartford. It's for a good cause. It is to raise money for the house. He has beds, trying to help recovering addicts integrate back into life, and he's doing a great job with it, and he is also looking to expand because there's such a need for it. So we're trying to help him promote his fundraiser. The tickets can be bought online, and we'll put the QR code there as well. So
Nice.
I don't think I forgot anyone. Oh, Rennell Jump, Green Street Trust International. Rennell Jump, master of tax plans. If you have a small business, Rennell Jump will save you money. Green Street Trust International. He'll either save you money or he will get you a big fat return. To schedule your free tax strategy planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Renell Jump. That's everyone. So have a safe trip. And are you on the road the rest of the week? Pretty much.
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
So.
All right.
All
Well,
right, my man. I'll see you soon.
yes. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life.